Hello and welcome to my new show. The stream started a few minutes earlier with hopefully nobody in the camera, nothing was there. This is the new show. What the show is going to be is I'm going to be learning Rust, but that's not exactly the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show will be playing some of these coding games, and I'm going to play this one called CodinGame, which has a really weird name, but okay, I set up my account here, hopefully everything's working, and so I'm going to learn Rust, and while I'm doing it, I'm going to be playing these games. And to give you an idea of where I am with Rust, so it really is, you can see it's Rust, this is how much I did with Rust today. I wrote a function from their own guide that says to print hello. Obviously I have a lot of experience in other languages, and it should make it go a bit faster. We're going to jump into it and see how I can see if I can do this onboarding stuff without knowing anything of Rust. And other than that, I'm going to have to jump the tutorial. Might have to work a bit through that. The reason why this is called episode 0 is because I don't know how much progress I'm going to make with the coding game today. It's quite possible that I'm going to have to do a bit on the side and then see what comes out of it later. But we'll see what happens. Today we'll just learn Rust, see what happens. Now, the reason why did I choose Rust? I don't know. Somebody said I should learn a new language. It seems popular, and honestly, I have my own language called Leaf, which I'm programming, and a lot of people that seem to comment on it seem to know Rust and refer to Rust, so I figure I should learn this one as well. And if you have any comments, questions, please speak up. And otherwise, why don't I just jump into this? I would usually use Firefox. And today I'm going to be using Google just because on Firefox, for whatever reason, CodinGame.com gives me a nice blank window. I don't know, it was working earlier today. We'll see what happens. I'll use Google for now, or Chrome. I guess they don't like it called Google Chrome. And let's check this onboarding one. I tried one earlier today in C++. Now let's see if I can do one in Rust. And there's supposed to be an onboarding. Let's figure out one out. Is this the one I wanted? Here we go. Got it. Welcome to the onboarding. Good. So we get some graphics with this. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I wonder if the graphics get bigger. Wonderful, the graphics get slightly bigger. Got it. This is my mission statement. Got it. Typical site. And I'm going to choose, I'm not in the top 10. They said they had it. There it is, Rust. Wow, that's a lot of code there. Okay, so let's just do what they say. I'm sure I can figure this stuff out, but we're going to do copy this code to shoot the closest alien. Okay, let's do that then. We'll copy the code, and I guess it's down here. We copy it, got it, and we're going to pretend we know what this does. Got it, so let's check the code, we'll play the test case, let's see what happens. I'll load this. Alright, so it shows us graphics, and those little black squares weren't actually there in Firefox, so there seems to be a Chrome issue, but that's not my big concern right now. We could see it win. Got it. Got a win. I'm going to submit that, see what happens. And then we're going to go and look at the Rust and see what it does. Click to rate. I don't know. Oh, these achievements. Oh, so many of them. I didn't do anything yet. I mean, just give me a chance to do something before you give me a lot of achievements. And I reached 100%. This is, this doesn't feel like a great idea, I think, because, it wasn't that hard, so. Okay, and now, loops. So this is going to be an issue. Hey, look, I've got even notifications. Look at all the achievements I have. Look, I don't even know the language, and there are already 4 achievements. I can feel so wonderful here. And so we're just going to go with the next one. And if we can do anything with this, if it gives any suggestions, but we might have to go off and learn some Rust now. I think we're limited here. And so let's just try solve it. Let's see how it is. It gives us code. And very interesting. Does that mean we can actually learn Rust this way? Let's find out. Got it. So what do we have to do? I wonder if I can increase the font size here. Not very much. Doesn't like that very much. Okay, we're going to have to deal with that for now, and we have expanded. I hope you can see this code there. Should be broadcasting at a high enough quality. We have something called Kirk's Quest. Destroy the mountains before your starship collides with one of them. For that, shoot the highest mountain on your path. Now let's just see what play test case does. I just want to see from graphics. Is it going to completely ignore me? What's it do? It just keeps shouting the same mountain. Oh, I crashed into the mountain. Okay. Okay, so what are we given? At the start of each game, each turn, you're given the height of the 8 mountains from left to right. By the end of the game turn, you must fire on the highest mountain by inputting its input from 0 to 7. Seems simple enough. So each pass we get all the heights. Represent the height, height, height. This is great. The code's already here for me, so we can understand it. I said, this is function main. I understand this. So we saw, there's your code, function main. I've got that down. So let's see what it looks like. For I is use size fairly fixed. I'm going to make lots of random assumptions here. Are we going to assume the mountains are greater than 0 high? Let's just do this way. What do we have? How do they declare stuff? Let's do this. Now somebody's telling me about this let mut. I see this from down here. They have a let mut and a let, and this is the one of few things I knew somebody taught me about Rust already, is that if you want something mutable, you have to be declared. And so let's declare this as max mountain equals 0. Actually, -1. And let mut max height equal 0. And this is a very typical example of looping in coding if you want to find the maximum. I'm just going to read it this way, and we'll do it right here. And we're going to say if... Do we remember how the ifs look like? Uh-oh. We're going to guess. We're going to guess at the syntax, because I don't know what an if looks like in Rust. I know we showed it on this last time, but I completely forgotten what that was. So we're going to say if max mountain equals -1. We don't have one yet. Is there an or is it or? Let's try them both. Let's try or first, and then we'll see which error we get. And we're going to learn Rust by just randomly typing in keywords and hoping we get the right one. Or max height is less than mountain age. Now there's probably a better way to do this, but that's not my concern right now. I want to see if I can get this done. Max mountain equals I, max height equals mountain H. And for, let's just hope this works, max mountain. Otherwise we might have to do something else. Let's see if it actually compiles. No, we got errors. Okay. Okay, this language seems to like semicolons, so let's throw some semicolons in. Good, and try this again. Probably going to hate me on this, or just keep running, getting all these errors. Found or. Okay, so there's no or, so we'll try the other default of pipes and see if we can learn that. Okay. Expected a literal. Now this is the one we're going to have to figure out. How do I sprint a string? How do I convert the string to a value in Rust? I mean, we're going to obviously have to be able to output that. Maybe I'm going to jump over to the guide and I'm going to see what we do in the guide. Of course, anybody in comments, if you want to jump in and tell me how to do one of these things, that'd be great as well. And I just need to see the code to convert an integer to a string. Let's go back here. We had a thing open here. Oh, this is a cargo example. It's chip cargo. Nobody wants to know cargo. Slices, strings. Is there a string? Common collection string. This is a tutorial guide. We're going to see what happens. We're going to look for random syntax. We have a string, to string. Is there something that says how we can do the string from a string literal? Okay, I'm going to have to understand the difference between a string and a string literal. But let's just scroll down so we can find some other example first. Hey, print line takes parameters. So, oh, I'm on the wrong page there. Alright, where's my turn? I'm going to put this on top here. Pin this. So this takes parameters apparently. So let's see what happens if I give it a parameter. Alright, now I have some other error. Unused macro definition. Is that an error? Is that an error or warning? Alright, now this seems to be from their standard code now. The trait bound use size negative is not satisfied. Interesting. I have no idea what that means at the moment. This is from their template code. It has to seem to do with my condition here. So how do I give these things types? Size, ops, negatives, not satisfied, not satisfied. Alright, so something with my condition here. We don't actually have to check this. Let's look at a loop. I just want to make sure I have the if statement correct. And do a basic if statement. Conditional control flow. If number, okay, so we have that correct. Let number equals 3, that seems to be fine. Number equals 7. Alright, so there's something special about negative numbers or something. There's something else wrong with this statement. Let's just take this off first to make sure I don't have anything wrong there. Max mountain equals -1. And we'll just take that. This will just end up taking the first mountain every time. But it doesn't like this -1. I don't know why it is. So we can do this another way. We know the first case is always going to be valid, so let's try that. The trait bound use size up negative. Okay. Where is negative? 27, 27 right here. So I don't know what this is. We're going to start at 0 and we're going to do ax 0 and we're going to do it this way instead, or mountain h is greater than max height. Look, it does something. It seems to be destroying the mountains. Can we make this bigger? Ooh, I don't know if you can see that at all, but let's see what happens. It's destroying mountains. We might have actually got it to work. Mountain 6. There's still a mountain 7. Hey, it looks like we've done it. We've cleared it, at least in that one case there. Okay, so what we have to look down is I'm going to have to make notes here. What do I want to say? We want to say -1. What on earth? How do I do a -1? I'll just make notes on my paper down here. You can't see them, or maybe I should open up a page with notes on them. I'll just throw them over here for now. I want to know what let mut number equals -1. I was having troubles here. Giving strange compiler error. Okay. So I'll just save them over here, and I'll check out those later and see what those do. Okay, but I think we've cleared at least the first test. Now, scattered mountains. Let's see what happens in that one. Let's do the full screen again. I know it's cut off a bit in the side, but looks more fun here. I'm not exactly sure what these tests do. They're not exactly fast moving. I don't know if they have sound. Do these have sound? Let me check. I'm going to turn my speakers on just a second and see if this has sound. Well, I'm not getting any sound. Oh well, the sound's on. So if you suddenly hear sound, it's my speakers. So it may not have sound. Let's have settings here. Speed. Oh, it's too HD quality. We're going to speed this up a bit because that's taken a bit of time. So let's play the third test case, strong mountains. Okay, a bit faster, and I'm not sure why these mountains are strong. But we have higher quality. I hope you can appreciate the higher quality. Now this is pretty easy. Do we actually have to run? Oh, we can play all the test cases. Here we go. There's only one left. We'll just leave it in a small window for now. And that's good. I mean, I'm very happy with the fact I was able to do something with Rust. I like these little templates. It's actually kind of nice. I mean, I can pick it up. I have no idea what the stuff at the top is. I guess I don't have to. And these loops look the same in all languages. They have a loop, which is very interesting, because I actually had the exact same thing in Leaf, and I added a while loop, but this gives me incentive to just add loop back in again. Loop being basically a while true. In my language, it wasn't while true, it had condition, but this looks like just an infinite loop. We had the issue with -1 here, so no -1, but we'll deal with that. And the formatting, we learned some basic formatting. What I also learned, these little exclamation marks mean this is a macro. I don't know why they're macros, but it is a macro. And I would really like for this font to be slightly bigger. Doesn't look like I have that option though. Maybe I'll go into the settings afterwards. Okay, but let's submit this and see what we get. You did not test your answer. Well, we did. Oh, because I probably typed something here. Yeah, let's submit it anyways. I'm pretty sure it'll go. Okay, so we got 100% on this one. Oh, and of course, and it's another achievement. We're making wonderful progress here. I leveled up in CodinGame. Oh, this name is weird. I'm sorry, CodinGame. Will I evolve like a Pokemon? I really hope not. I don't really want to evolve. Where's the close button here? You know, maybe I should. I don't have my Twitter account hooked up. Maybe next time I should do this and we could Twitter as we go, just to drag people into the show. All right, so 100% score, 125. I guess I reached both of these. Best solutions. All right, I guess 100% is the best solution. So let's just go to the next step and see what we have. Now we have weird stuff. What do we want to do now? No, I don't want a contest just yet. I don't think we're good enough for that. Do we just go in this one? Is this the next one here? Skills, distances, optimization, trigonometry. This doesn't sound like what we need yet. What do we go to practice here in the puzzles? Let's check a puzzle out. What do we have now? Which ones have I done? Or these ones I haven't done. Alright, let's do Power of Thor. Sounds good. I hope it's not too hard. We need to compare different values. You have to correlate characters and variables and integer variables. A straightforward solution uses 8 conditions. There is a way to simplify it and use only 4 conditions. I don't care. If we get it working, we'll be fine. Let's see what we can possibly do. Let's just go to solving. And I really hope it gives me the same... Oh, it gives me the same template again. That's going to be so helpful. I can actually do something with it then. I don't have to learn all of Rust to get anything working here. This is actually... I like this. I'm going to probably do more of the Rust programming offline, because I was thinking I'd have to go into Visual Studio and use the command line here a lot, but it looks like I can probably do a lot of this in the code. Why does this keep going? I have to get this window stuck to the top. Okay, there we go. And we got it. We know how to test this. And what do we have to do? Well, I just want to see what happens when we play it first. Let's see what this guy does. I have no idea what the code's doing, so let's just press play. At least the code doesn't give any weird position. Alright, and I think Thor died. Okay, so that wasn't so nice. We killed Thor. I guess we don't want to kill Thor, so I'm going to read the rules now and we'll figure out what we have to do with Thor. Thor moves in a map which is 40 wide by 18 high. Note that the coordinates x and y start at the top left. That's right here. And... sorry, yeah, sure. It's great. The only guy in chat right now is called Thor, so we better try to make sure Thor here doesn't die too often, or he'll be upset. But that would explain the number by your name, you know. Is that the count of how many times Thor has died, I guess? Yeah. Alright, so 0, 0 is a top left cell coordinate. It doesn't say whether that's actually the corner or the inside of it. Once the program starts, you're given the variable light x. The x position of the power, that's where we have to get to, light x, and the starting position of Thor. So we know where we are and where we have to get to. At the end of the game turn, you have to output the direction in which you want Thor to go among. Okay, so I guess we're moving on a square grid. Thor move by one. Each movement makes Thor move by one cell in the chosen direction. Okay, this seems straightforward. What's my goal? I just walk on top of it. I guess I don't have to stop moving. So, it's... And this actually, I have no association with this, but this I really like compared to some of the other coding ones. It's taken away all the annoying bits of parsing the input, which admittedly I wouldn't be able to do in Rust, so I might have to go back and read this, but in some of the coding solutions and even in interviews, this is something that's really annoying when it's like you spend like half your time going through this stupid input of like, can I parse this, where's the comma? So it's actually really nice that they've done this here. I can just focus on the algorithm here. And so we have a loop here. And we have to choose which direction we want to go. And I'm going to do the stupid solution first. I'm going to... Yeah, abstraction is great, but for starting straight, I would certainly say that if I was not able to write this code here, that I can't honestly say I know Rust. And since I don't know Rust and I don't know this code, like, there's a lot of weirdness over here, like split, collect, vector. Like, this is weird. I think this is something I'm going to have to understand, but for now I'm just going to pretend it's doing the right thing and just forget about it and move on, and let's hopefully not let Thor die. So we have 4 conditions here, and now curiously the game starts with 8, but you could do it with 4, and I'm going to do the 4. I'm going to avoid diagonal motions first of all. So we're going to do this first of all. If, well, we don't need the brackets. Okay, we're going to need a current x. Let mut-cur x equals initial tx. Let mut-cur y initial ty. What did it say? This is where Thor starts, or this is Thor is here, not just in chat. And we're just going to do the brain dead thing of saying if current x is less than where the light x is, we're going to say go, we're assuming east is going in that direction? Yeah, east. Go east. Else if, I hope there's an else if. Else if current x is greater than light x, we're going to print line, this is supposed to be this thing, let's go west. Else if current y is less than light y, I'm going to print line, y is going down, so I guess we go south then. Else if current y is greater than light y, print line north, then we go north. Okay, and get rid of this line here. Debug message. Hey, we can write debug messages. Else print error. Where'd Thor go? We shouldn't get here. If I'm understanding the problem correctly, we shouldn't get here. Now let's go back up and let's see if we can test Thor here. Oh, did we get a compile error? Okay, unexpected. Okay, again, semicolons. I'm used to this. My own language, Leaf, doesn't have it, and I've been doing a lot of work in JavaScript lately, so I'm going to be prone not to type semicolons. I think there's something that should disappear from programming languages, but I guess I can't influence Rust right now. Is it compiling? Look, it's doing something. I have no idea why he's moving up. Did I do something wrong? Okay, this is a... How do you deal with end of line when parsing? Well, let's see. How does it deal with end of line when parsing? Oh, you mean in Leaf? Well, in Leaf, end of line is always just a new line. So the way it works in Leaf is that if you, the new line is basically inserts a semicolon. I mean, that's what JavaScript called it, but in Leaf it just ends the line. And for anything that needs to extend lines, like exactly these structs, like ifs or anything, when it has a matching brace, it just continues on. The statements are continued. So anytime there's matching stuff like parentheses or anything, you don't need the semicolon. And so far, I've not found any situation that it causes a problem. So I just decided, well, I'll just get rid of semicolons. And so far, from looking at Rust, it doesn't look like it needs semicolons. I mean, it looks like it'd do fine without. But okay. But look, we got Thor. He didn't die this time. And up. Let's play test case up. Up seems straightforward. Oh, I know I was walking funny. This grid isn't exactly straight. Okay. I wonder if we just play all the test cases at once. Wow, Thor is going so slow. Let's just do this a bit faster. Uh-oh, I think I broke Thor. Thor wandered off and failed. Thor wandered off the path and died. This is like extreme. So if you go too far, this is like those old video games. If you walk into random things, you just die. Now we have to figure out what we did wrong. He was supposed to go down here, but he just kept going left. And so we have an issue here of current Y. Well, we can cheat, I guess. Let's just see what the values are. Print error. Initial, and final. And we're going to say where the light X is. Actually, where the light Y is and where the initial Thor is in the initial TY. Let's see what that is first. I just want to logically figure out where this value is. Console output. Anybody see that information here? Hey, look, you can rewind. Oh, that's really cool. So this is all the output. I can rewind every step. That's interesting. That makes debugging fun. So here it is. Light X is 0, light Y is 17. Initial X is 31, initial TY is 4. Yeah, I really like that feature. Like, I really wish I could debug my code this way. I mean, but that's really fun. Okay, I'm really liking that. So we got to figure out why he keeps going west, and why was he going west? If current X is greater than light X. Well, let's just print this out every loop. What a wonderful way to debug. I finally like a site where it lets me debug. Too many of these sites always have the test cases are entirely hidden. You end up spending an hour debugging some test case that would have been brutally simple to figure out if you just knew what the test was. So for me, this sounds fun. So current X, current Y. Let's try it again. And okay. Alright, so just like our Thor in the game, our Thor in chat's going to be right back. He's wandered off the path, and he'll join us later when I bring him back. Okay, and oh, It's totally obvious what I've done now, what's wrong. I'm wondering, why am I printing out the same values every time? It's like, well, because I haven't updated the values. So current x minus equals 1. Current x minus equals 1, I got this backwards, this is plus equals. Current y plus equals 1. This is really disturbing that I solved 2 of these test cases with this error in it. That means those test cases were really, really simple. So now let's try this again with just the 1. This is perspective. You walk in one way, then you walk straight down. Yay! You managed to get to the light. So let's play the last test case now. Optimal angle. I don't know why that's optimal. We definitely don't have an optimal angle. Uh-oh. Ran out of energy. Nobody said anything about energy. Where's this energy? Okay, so they've added a rule to me. I'm running out of energy. Alright, so that means I'm going to have to actually move at an angle. I didn't realize I'd have to do that. I was hoping the 4 case would be fine, and now we actually want to run at an angle. And this is something we can actually do a little bit differently now. We can make this little grid here. If this wasn't Rust, I knew a few ways to do this with just a little matrix of values. And so I really want a 9 by 9 matrix. That would be ideal, and I'm going to use the offset as indexing into them. But since I don't know how to do that, let's find out first. Let's figure out how we create an array of here. Let me set the code up first, and you can understand what I mean by. Actually, I'm going to take that back. We'll just comment this out for now. What we want is we're just going to calculate what we have to do first. We're going to say step x equals 0. That means step y equals 0. And so if we need to go to the left, step x equals minus 1. And I'm going to get rid of these for a second. If we need to go down to the right, step x equals... Again, I got this wrong. It's supposed to be backwards. I don't know if it's going to accept the plus, so I'm just going to put a 1 there for now. If we need to go y down, then step y is going to be 1. If we need to go up, step y is going to have to go up. Now, we can make a little grid of these values, and let's just throw this in a comment here. What I mean by the grid is if you take this cur x, or step x, it's going to be a value minus 1, 0, or 1, and this correlates to the x-axis in our grid, and the y is going to be the vertical axis. If we just make over to plus 1, so if we type all the directions in here, we have northwest, north, which is the space, and then say northeast. And then we have west, and we have nowhere, dot, and we have east. Then we have southwest, south, and southeast. Now the way I solve this is that we can directly translate these coordinates into these values, because our step y refers to the row, and the step x refers to the column. So this is a matrix access here, very standard array stuff. And it would be super standard if I knew any way how to do this in Rust. So I'm going to jump back over to the tutorial and figure out how to set up an array of strings. I have no idea how to do that, so let's go figure out how to set up an array of strings. I saw vector there. Is that common collections vector? Creating a new vector. Okay. Let's see if this works. This is the syntax here. Let v equals vec something. Do I have to import something? Okay, no. So let directions equal... And we said it was northwest, north, northeast. I'll start a new line for clarity. West, no direction. East, southwest, south, southeast. And so where is our index now? Is our direction index becomes, not var, var is in leaves, sorry. Direction index equals, well, it's going to be, the rows are 3 in size, and I might use constants here, but this is, I think, clear enough for now, times step y plus 1. We're doing the plus 1 because we said it was minus here, and I don't want to map this to 0 and 2 here. It's clear here to be minus and plus 1. And so this gets us to the right row. So if it's minus 1, this will be at 0, plus step x plus 1. And now what we have to do is we have to print let's just assume the indexing operation is this. And we'll just try the first one if this does anything correctly. If I don't get an error or anything. Okay, I got a compilation error. Expected item F. Well, this is amazing. I have actually made an error in the comment. Does it require that? Okay, apparently we didn't write anything, which is really kind of weird. We never wrote anything. So let's see, we had a print error here. We'll just do it x comma y. And what do we have? Step x, step y. We want to put it down here instead. And let's also say what our index is. Equals index. I don't like using tooth index. Let's see what that gives us. Now I really can't tell from the output. There's something wrong here. Alright, I'm going to remove this comment first. I don't know why it's whining about the comments. Let's just remove that first and see if we get a clearer error. Expecting a literal. Okay, was this that thing we saw in the thing? String from? I'm just remembering a random syntax about literals, and I have no idea if that's correct in Rust. If it is, alright, so this is the problem here. I have a directions in the directional index. I just need to know how to get that index out of there. Well, can it format its own strings? I don't know what this type is, but obviously this type must be something. Let's see if it can format it on its own. Oh, I got this negative thing again. Oh, man. How do I do a negative value in a Rust? Well, let's just do the brain dead approach. Put a 0. Let me see if it accepts that. Alright, that's kind of annoying. So this is clearly something I have to figure out in Rust. Does anybody know how I specify -1? Because 0 minus 1 is obviously not the correct option. Alright, so now let's see if this works again. The optimal angle. He should be able to move at an angle now. We're opting, and we're not. So I'm not moving at an optimal angle. And what's happening here is 5, 5, east, 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 east. Alright, no, okay, this is stupid. The reason not is because I'm only setting one of these. We have to check the y and x independently. And so both step y and step x can both have a value. And let's go check this easy angle one first and see if that works out now. We should actually see Thor walking at an angle. Subtract with overflow. Alright, so this is a problem. It's the negatives again. I need to find a way how to get negative numbers. So I'm going to have to go back to the tutorial. And where's numbers? Variables. X, fine, I got X. Let mut. It's probably pronounced mute. Hey, look, excellent. Yeah, I figured it had to do something with unsigned. I'm just wondering why unsigned is a default. Okay. Yeah, okay, I totally understand this, and this is something actually I'm really thinking about in Leaf as well, is that I actually, on binary types in Leaf, I don't, the wraparound is defined as powers of 2, but on integer numbers, there is no wraparound, and I'm going to actually start throwing errors in wraparounds. But now the question is, how do I do a negative number in Leaf, or in Rust? There must be a basic type for integer that I'm missing. I want a negative. Tell me, guys, how do I do a negative? All I care about is negative. I don't want to use size. Data types. Guess U32. Alright, so let's try I size. What is art? Is that architecture independent? I size. Let's go to I size. How do I specify it? Where do I put the things? Colon. Ah, great. That's like in Leaf as well. This is going to be an I size as opposed to a U size. Now let's see if you can do both of them without complaining. It's not a what? Okay. So now it doesn't accept I size, and I actually kind of agree with this. If I'm giving a assigned value, it shouldn't accept it here. Now the question is, how do I cast this to a unsigned value? Because I definitely know this is an unsigned value. It's because of this thing right here. I know it's that. So what if I just force it here? Will that actually do it, or is it going to complain right on this line? It's probably going to complain on line 63 right now. Yeah. Expected use size. So how do I cast? Let's figure that one out. How do I cast? Tell me, how do I cast? The Boolean, I'm fine with this. Let's look for casting. Uh-oh. Let's look for casting over here. Let's look for convert. Nothing. I was doing so well without having to know anything about Rust. Now I'm going to have to learn something. Okay, so let's try the simple approach. Rust cast I size to U size. Safely. I like this question. How do I convert between numeric types safely? It's not just how do I convert, how do I do it safely? Oh, I'm going to have to read something. As. Well, let's try as. As would be like C# syntax for casting. I guess I put this whole thing like this as U size. Now I made a mistake here somehow. Else print error. I don't need this print error anymore. It's totally expected he'll be there. Do these -1s now work, or is it still bugging me? I want to test the -1s. Okay, they accept the -1 now, which is good. And so -1 goes to 6. Is that what we expect? And it is what we expect if I wanted to a -1, but is it direction? Is he going the right direction? So now I have this output correct, but I think he's going the wrong direction. And step Y. So we're going to have to get the actual position where he is as well. Let's figure out where he is. And then we'll break it. So he's at 0,17. No, the light's at 0,17. And he's at 31,4. I did the same mistake again. I forgot to update it. But this is easier now. So current x plus equals step x plus equals step y. I had the exact same mistake I did before, so let's try this again now. Oh no, what did I do wrong? Expected I32 got blah blah blah. I size. Why was it expecting I32? Is size 32-bit by default? That wouldn't make any sense. I'd expect 64 bits. Come on, it's I size. Now what did I do wrong? Oh, this is gonna annoy me every single one of these places, huh? Let's look at this parse input here. What is parse input returning? I have no idea what it's returning. But let's stick brackets around it and say as I size. I just break everything in I size. Let's see if it works. No, it got mad at me. No rules expected. Okay, so it doesn't like... I can't take the simple approach. There's something wrong there I don't understand about that. But what if I put it down here as I size? As I size. As I size. It would actually bug me if that worked. Okay, so there's something I don't understand about macros, but at least Thor now works. Thor goes to the right location, which is great. So let's just play all the test cases again, and let's see what happens to him. Simple case, fine, straight up. And in the case where he runs out of energy, good, didn't run out of energy. Now, that means we got everything working, and they said there's a tip here. There is no energy in it. They're cheating. The description doesn't say anything about energy. Okay. Remaining turns. Do we read it? I don't know if we read it in, so this code doesn't seem to handle it. Alright. Oh, so we have some story down here too. The final battle of Ragnarok. The twilight of the gods is approaching. You incarnate Thor, who is participating in this final battle against all the forces of evil, led by Loki, Thor's wizard brother. Thor was wounded during a previous battle against Fenrir, the wolf god. During the battle, Loki took advantage of the general confusion and used his magic to annihilate the magical power of Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, by separating it from his soul, the light of power. Thor, who now feels very weak, must find and reach the light of power as fast as possible, since it is the only thing which can restore his and Mjolnir's powers. Excellent. So we have theme. It's too bad they put that way at the bottom. I mean, who's going to read down there? Okay, but we read it, so we have it. And we have this test case with Thor. And we've managed all the cases. Let me explain what I did again, how I did this. And we have 4 if conditions. And I think that's what they meant in the initial thing. There was some tip somewhere about there's an option with 4. What we did is we created a little matrix. It's actually just one array. And we'll just manually index it of all the directions. Right in the middle we don't have one. But that would only ever happen if he's actually on the power thing, in which the game is supposed to be over anyways. And, I'm going to comment these out, get rid of the debug. We're going to have to run them all again, but that's okay. Actually, we don't have to, we can just submit it. I think it runs it on its own. And for each loop, this part, it figures out where it is. I'm tracking where he is, so the current X is where Thor is right now. And these little if statements say, which direction do I have to move, left or right, or up or down? And then I actually change the current direction. And then the dir index, this maps these -1 and 1 variables into the dir structure to tell me which direction I have to go. And then I print that out. And I do this syntax here because I don't know how to convert this directly to a string. But as hoped, the macro with this template expansion figures out whatever type this was and prints it to a string for me. So I don't have to. And so now let's submit this case and see how we're doing. Yeah, I just submit my code. What's this other button? Okay, I got all sorts of achievements again. Rust regular. Now, I think that's exaggerating just a little bit to call me a Rust regular. Okay. But we seem to have gotten 100%, 100% somehow. I don't know. Let's check the details. What does this mean? Optimal angle, whatever. I don't care about that. Should we be rating these things? How do we feel about this? Thor, did you feel like you liked it or you didn't like dying on the side? Actually, I think this is a pretty good test. So I'm going to say I loved it. I think this is a reasonable algorithm test. My challenge had to do with Rust, which is to be expected because, as I said, remember, this is how much Rust I knew when the day started. Actually, not the day. I didn't even know this line. I knew this line here. So to get that, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go to the next step. And look at all these notifications that I have. Rust regular, that's just, this is a lot. These guys like notification overload. And 11, oh, we've got a lot of achievements to go though. What else do we have? Should we do one more today? Or we've had enough for today? Let's do something easy. Arrays, temperatures, loops, conditions, ASCII error. No, that sounds hard. I don't do ASCII errors. Printing is not something. Puzzle, medium, hard. Hey, look, they get really hard. Community puzzles. Machine learning, well, let's do that one later. That's going to require lots of cryptography, and it's a Nintendo. I don't know what that is. Now, let's go back to these easy ones, because I have no idea what Rust is, so let's just go to temperatures. I have no particular things here. I'm going to jump right to the solve it. Okay. Where's my graphics? I hope there's a pretty program here. I'm expecting graphics now. In this exercise, you have to analyze records of temperatures to find the closest to 0. Write a program that prints the temperature closest to 0 among the input data. If two numbers are equally close to 0, positive integer has to be considered closest to 0. What if there's two that have the exact same? Alright, we can probably do this one. This is a very standard one. And unfortunately, this one doesn't have the pretty graphics. So let's just see. We're reading in the temperatures. So these are all the temperatures we have. And I and inputs. This is a very typical max-min problem, and we'll have it set up the exact same way before. Let mutable, and we're going to make this an I size again before it starts whining at us about the wrong type. And the initial value doesn't matter. I don't know what Rust has. Closest. Let's see what happens if I don't initialize it. And let's... Actually, do we even need to know what index it is? No, we just need the closest to 0. Oh, we need a bool, though. Let's mut first. Because there's got to be some way to do it in the I loop, but I don't care. We're just going to say let equals false. True. It highlights it, so I'm going to assume that's a good sign. So, if first, then closest equals t. Else, we're going to have to check if it's actually closer. Max. Okay. We need an absolute value here. Or we might not. Alright, maximum value. Math. Where's math? Math. No more math. I want math. Alright, let's do it the hard way. Let's do search. Rust ABS. There's got to be an ABS function. Method of most numbers. Absolute value. Okay. Look, another syntax. You can stick the type at the end. That's why they have these funny small types. You can stick them at the end. Now, that'll make it smaller. I mean, still would like to avoid the error, but fine. If t.abs, was it abs? Is less than closest.abs. Now we're going to do it this way. So let diff, say the difference first, t.abs. No, okay. Let's just do it this way. Okay. I'm trying to think as if there's the condition where if it's negative, it has to pick the one that's positive, it said. Where was that again? Okay, we display the positive one if there's two that are the same. And okay, so yeah, so we need to do the difference. How do I want to do this? I'm having a brain lapse here. If this is less, this is obviously, this is a simple test case. We can just ignore the condition first about outputting the positive ones. If it's less, then closest equals t. And what do we have to print? Print line result. What are we supposed to write out? Just the... They could have set that up for us. So I assume this is going to pass the first test, and it's going to fail one of the advanced tests. I mean, oh look, I managed to fit semicolons. Semicolon, 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 semicolon. Okay, we forgot to close something somewhere, right here. Alright, this is actually on the wrong side. This is an I size. Oh, but yeah, I screwed that up. Okay. Alright, try it again. What do we have? Macro, unused macro definition, don't know what that is. Mismatched type, found I32. Parse input. Parse input takes a type? Aha! Interesting. So, this is a parameter to type. Let's see if I can pass I size here. might be where it's getting these I32s from the last example. We're getting worse here. Unused variable n. That's okay, you know. Where's the error? Use of possibly uninitialized variable. Okay, so Rust doesn't appear to have default values, so I'm going to have to stick one in. This is actually, I wrote an article about this, and it actually kind of angers me that languages don't have default values, because you can get into a lot of trouble by not having them. And you can say, fine, you can have these types of comments. The problem is it's provably unsolvable for a compiler to know if you're using an uninitialized value or not. So these are just rough estimates. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a language that basically forces you to do this, I guess as Rust does. Even if you have somewhere later you can guarantee it's initialized, it's going to have no choice but to emit this error, because it's provably it can't figure it out in the global sense. In a local function maybe, but in the global sense it can't. So we'll just do the same thing. I'm used to this in C#, just sticking in random values everywhere. Not random, but initial values. This value will never be used. It doesn't know that, but okay. Found 5, expected 1. Alright, so I did something wrong. 5. We print 5, and we wanted to print 1. Oh, that's right, because then first equals false. So it's not the first condition each time. Let's do that. 1, some random character. That's weird. Success! Alright. Success. Okay, this one's wrong. Found -5, expected 5. So we know that one. And so now we want to know the difference, and so let's do it this way. We have to, this one failed because you're supposed to output 5, and there's 2 that are the same. So let the diff equals t.absolute minus closest.absolute. So if the diff is less than 0, this means it's closer to 0, because it means the old value was bigger. Or if the difference equals 0 and the new one is greater than 0. That's the condition. So this means if they're the same value but the new one is positive, take that one instead. Otherwise you have less than 0. So let's try that. Good. So that one works. That one works. I should test them all. And where's our little Thor walking around the screen? I really want that. No temperature. Well, that's mean. What do you mean, no temperature? What does no temperature mean? Displays 0 if no temperatures are provided, but I have a 0. What did I write out? Well, this is a bit odd. I should have written 0. That was just accidental, but why did it not actually write 0? Found nothing. How did it skip this line? What point is failing here in the input? I have a feeling they're set up here, and this is what Thor, real chat Thor, said before, is that I think I have to understand this. There has to be something here. Parse int error. Okay, so something went wrong here. The number of temperatures to analyze. Read line. So let's see. Print. What was that again? Print error. N is n. So there must be an error here. It's going to give us the same error, 0. And I think their input probably doesn't have a line, so we're going to short circuit here. If n equals 0, print line 0, and return. Can I return from main without a value? Let's find out. Alright, it's happy. This is actually kind of a shitty setup for an input file. I mean, if you give it text, even if you have 0, you should have the next line of text. Unless it's an error in Rust that it can't read the empty line and is doing... I mean, not an error in Rust, but in the way this API is being used. Okay, so I think that does it for all of these. Let's play all the test cases. They all slowly run. So did we learn anything new here about Rust? We learned the .absolute, that the numbers actually have a method on them to return the absolute value, and we're not sure if we learned that this is a special case of Rust or the input that were provided here, but this caused an error. We couldn't read in 0. And I learned how to pass the iSize to this macro. We know about iSize now. That's good. So let's just submit this one. Do we get 100%? I hope so. Yay! We've reached level 4. Yay, I've reached level 4. Oh, come on, it's the exact same comment as last time. That's no fun. I want different ones. And I apparently achieved even more achievements. 3 more. What did I get this time? Unlocked 100% temperatures. Okay. 50% temperatures. Okay. And piece of cake. Okay, it's just... I'm guessing they think that's good. But look at this one here that's... They keep you going. I mean... Oh, just a few more experience to the next level, but I think I'm going to call it a day for today. This was just meant to be a test. I actually did not mean to be solving these questions in CodinGame. As I said, I called this my learning session. I was actually intending to go through this, get back here, this tutorial and find a bit more. But that's actually really nice in the site. They've set it up well enough that I think I can probably keep going the hard way. Whether I learn the intricacies of Rust or not, I don't know, but I can look up some things offline, or we can keep looking at it. I think I did well enough. And as for everything else in production, the program so far, this is the same layout I'm using for Leaf. I just threw the little graphic here together literally about 2 seconds before the show started. I pressed save, and the other title graphic is also there. And so I hope you enjoyed watching. I'm going to keep doing these things. I'm going to keep solving these problems. It has something to do. It's something fun. And it helps me learn Leaf. And maybe we can do other things in it. And I'll keep using this CodinGame. Let's see how far we can get it. Some of them have graphics. Unfortunately, the last one didn't have graphics. Okay. But maybe I have a profile here. I don't know. Level 4. Piece of cake. What was piece of cake anyways? Okay, so I don't know what it is. And I've labeled my name Evening Rust on this system, in case you want to see me there. And I don't know what else is here. I'd like to play the Thorn again, but I can't find it. So I'm going to keep doing these. I don't know what time I'm going to do these always. I'm doing it rather late, and I'm probably going to do it late. I mean, this is at least late for me. It's 12:15 at midnight, 12:15 right now. And I'll do them in the evening sometimes. I'll put them on Twitch, and I can export these to YouTube after. I don't know. They may not be as interesting as my learning ones, but hey, why not? Let's put them there. And I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you'll come back again and watch me again doing this. I'll let you know in advance hours. And subscribe to my Twitch channel so you know when I'm live. And you can also follow me on Twitter. I'll also post it there. And I thank you for watching, and I'm going to go play some more real games at this point. I think I'm playing Far Cry at the moment, Primal. Nothing to do with Rust. They don't even have Invent Metal yet, so there's no Rust in the game. Thank you, and have a good day. Goodbye.